Hey, I'm Proph3t. Thanks for coming to my talk. I'm going to talk about why you should launch on MetaDAO. And yeah, so the first kind of realization from crypto is that tokens kind of suck, right? You have all these problems with tokens, like you get earlier liquidity than if you're building a startup. And so if you look at a lot of the DeFi summer projects from like 2020, a lot of those founders have kind of retired because they made a bunch of money. And then psychologically, it's kind of painful to have tokens going down, right? And then yeah, just like you get all these people pestering you, which like you don't have a problem with that in private capital markets. And so these are all reasons why internet capital markets might not actually work, right? But if you look at tokens, they also have pretty clear advantages. So like Ethereum has benefited a lot from having its token, like all these people owning ETH and wanting Ethereum to succeed. Jupiter was originally like a very popular tool, but has kind of pivoted that into being one of the strongest communities on Solana through its token. Hyperliquid volume per volume 6x after it did its airdrop. And then Mega ETH is a recent example where they sold a bunch of tokens and then mindshare 16x or 15x. And yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine like Bitcoin without BTC or Solana without Sol or Helium without HNTT. And I think like a big problem is that the way that we do tokens right now, like this low float, high FTV shitcoin launch, is actually not good at achieving what we want to achieve, right? You have structural sell pressure from all the people who have very low cost bases, and you're launching at a low float, normally like 10%, and so it's not like, it's kind of bound, and you also have all this hype around your TGE. So if you have all the demand and the front, and then you're backloading the supply, like just supply and demand means that this is what's going to happen. And if you look through most sex listings, that's what happens. And so, yeah, we created a new system that is more aligned and we think better for founders and for communities. And yeah, so this is kind of what we realized is the right way to do a token, which, yeah, so the first thing is you do a high float early launch. So this allows your community to win with you. And yeah, so this is the pie chart. It's not like a complicated, this goes to this. It's just like 10 or a million tokens for liquidity of the token, and then 10 million tokens to people who participate in your ICO. And then everything else, like what the team gets, and any for future raises or liquidity mining, can all be minted post-launch. And then, yeah, so unlike these useless coins that are launching on platforms like Believe, you actually have real ownership here. So we use the Marshall Islands DAO LLC, which is a legal entity purpose-built for DAOs that gives the token holders legal ownership over the intellectual property of the entity of the project, so you don't have like a Uniswap Labs, Uniswap DAO type situation. And then, yeah, we use decision markets, which is this new governance mechanism, but we've been testing it over a year, and it seems to actually work, unlike token voting historically. So yeah, these are the organizations that are using it. These people have written research reports about it. And yeah, so we have a high float early launch, and then you actually have the token holders own the project. And because of that, you get total transparency around token generation, right? There aren't any like shadow allocations in a project that launches this way. So anyone looking at the project knows like this is how everything has been done. And yeah, you don't have like founders that have exited a bunch of cash on TGE day, which is a problem. And yeah, so the first project that launched with us was Mountain Capital. We thought it was going to raise like $1 million from 200 wallets, which, yeah, we expected to be like that size of community. Ended up raising 5.8 from almost 2,000 wallets, so that was cool. And yeah, here's just to provide some social credibility. This is Brian Smith, who's the CEO of Jito, and I'm just going to read out what he said, which is, Futarchy-governed ICOs are the least extractive capital formation model to ever exist in crypto. Expect $500 million invested this way during 2025. And then he also points out a pretty key point, which is like, yes, I'm sure a lot of founders looking at this be like, okay, this seems like a weird new system. Like, who the heck is this weird profit guy like speaking to me? Like, I'd rather just go through the regular playbook of raising from VCs. The problem is once you do that, you're locked into the low float high FTV playbook. Like, you can't, it's very hard to exit out of it. And so that's why you do this instead. If you're a founder who wants your project to win. And yeah, so that's kind of the pitch. Please, if you're interested, DM me or my co-founder. Those are our handles. So yeah.